it going over there? So there. Right, double act us too.
Oh, there we go. Right, so today's webinar will be a discussion based around 8 marketing and sales tips that we think are important for your survey business. At the end, then we will have a bit of a question and answer time, so you can chat to us both. And if people aren't sure how Zoom works, there's a chat function. I think you've all been in it. We can't see you and we can't hear you either. So all you can see is us two hosts, just in case you aren't sure how the webinars work, because, you know, we're not spying on you.
Yeah, we can't see.
Yeah.
We're blind.
Here we go. If you aren't sure who we are, I'm Erin. I basically run Get Kids Into Survey, just the day-to-day tasks and marketing. Also help with our new franchise in the West Coast of America.
You do more than that though, Erin. She does do a lot more than that. She also runs the whole world outside of the stateside, of all the other things that are going on, and interacting with the suppliers who deliver and distribute both posters from Australia and also UK and Europe wide as well. So Erin does a lot more. She's always busy. Yeah. I'm Elaine Ball, for those who don't know me. I set up Get Kids actually a little bit by fluke, really, but we were actually going to the Survey Association here in the UK. And they actually said to me, do you want to put some information about the marketing stuff that you actually deliver from the consultancy and agency side of our business? And I said, tell you what, I'm working with this cartoonist at the moment with a company called Topodot at the time. So we're working there. If you see Topodots, you'll see how they've completely integrated the characters throughout a very boring software. So sorry if there's any data geeks out there that love point cloud processing and feature extraction, but we had to sort of jazz up and really get the brand out there. And we came up with a poster, and that poster, I asked 5 of my very close customers, saying, can please you give me some money and I will do this poster, and it's something that we can give back. And it sort of touched a nerve, didn't it? And it went a bit crazy, and everybody was like, have you got more of those? I was like, yeah, we've got lots more of those. So that's how it started. My business, EBL, I set up in 2013, mainly because I could never find marketing and strategists and salespeople who understood geospatial and survey. So we are first a marketing and sales consultancy, and of course now the growing Get Kids in Survey, which has grown legs and is running around the world. So that is a little bit about me. Majority of us are pretty horsey as well, so hence you'll see the horse logo. We've got to convert Paola yet, so she's not horsey yet.
She looks scared.
And Sharon as well. So yes, Sharon says it's not having a child. Anyway, so that's us.
And why should you trust us? Basically, Elaine's touched on it, and you can read the information on the screen. But basically, Elaine's been director level at a couple of companies. You were managing director, weren't you, at MDL?
Yep.
And then that got sold. You went on to be sales director at Topodot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, they were a long-standing contracts. When we do marketing contracts with people, our average of contracts is about 1.5 years for retainer work, where we actually bolt on marketing team. But some of them, like Leica and of course Topodot, want to keep us, and I'm like, you guys, you need to stand on your own 2 feet now. So we were working with Topodot for about 7 years, and we still work pretty close with them as well, which is great. So yeah, so we're very integrated niche players within geospatial and a family. My dad's hydrographer, mine's surveyor, my brother's a drone pilot, and my sister's an interior designer.
You got lots of contacts in the industry, that's for sure.
Yes, that's for sure. So have you guys now, you and Paola. Paola's growing. We went to Geo Week the other week, and people were saying, oh, hello, Paola. And they're like, hi, I'm Elaine. They're like, oh yeah, oh, hi, Elaine, nice to meet you. And I'm like, how does Paola know someone so quickly? What's going
on? So we're going to be talking a lot about the Get Kids in Survey characters, which you may have seen. These characters are what you get when you sponsor something at Get Kids Into Survey. And I've just listed here what things we have on offer at the minute that you can sponsor in order to get a character. So we have homework projects, reprint packages, We've also got a poster coming up, which hasn't been mentioned yet. So, you know, if you're interested in that, please do get in touch. And colouring in sheets too.
And I think it's just worth mentioning here, the cartoons, and just going back to the Topodot as the example, if you go onto their, especially their Instagram page, and actually, in fact, on their LinkedIn pages, they use it a lot for integration into their marketing. So it's a great talking point. It's easy on the eye. And William Wing here it's Nora, isn't it? The cow. There's a cow called Norma or Nora. Trent, what's the name of the cow?
I think it's Nora.
Is it Nora? Okay, so William Wing, Infinity Land Surveyors in Arizona, he actually found a cow. And the cow, he's like Buzz Lightyear of the sort of the survey world over there. And he actually found a cow. And this is why this is quite interesting. It's a top talking point when it comes to the marketing communications and actually the values of the business, which I'm giving away some secrets already, but this is one of the reasons why, you know, thinking about this and how it cross-references into your own marketing. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. We'll start the steps. So, number 1, did you know that once you have your Get Cousins into survey character, you can use that in your own marketing activities? So it's a bit more of a lively and fun approach to your marketing, because people don't just want to see your equipment all the time and text. They want to see, you know, a bit more kind of excitement going on in what you're posting. Some of our sponsors use their characters to educate their audiences. It's a great tool to use as you wish in different campaigns, basically.
Yeah, and just actually, if you just look at the guy on the right hand side, typical white male surveyor. But these are Storm Geomatics based out of the UK. They're actually river surveyors, so they specialize in anything water based. And they wanted to have a character that represented their current team, but also they wanted to integrate him into the education of what they do water based. So it wasn't, even though their main clients are big environmental agency, the rivers, what do you call it?
They do a lot of flood awareness.
They do a lot of flood awareness, but they wanted to have something that was educational and also memorable. So they came up with their character, which they've then sponsored. They've sponsored a poster, homework project.
Their homework project is very good if you're interested in looking at that.
Yeah.
It's so bespoke to what they do.
Yeah. So that's actually, Paola, if you want to try and, if you go onto the Get Survey website and get Storm's homework project's a really good one to show you what they've done. And then we're going to talk about homework projects. I can't remember. No, we're not. So actually, I'll tell you. So with the homework project, which was it's for kids, of course, it just shows you how they have talked and educated the children, but also from your own business perspective, you could actually use that in your own information education for your own services, what you actually deliver service, or if you're a product seller, the same thing. So it's integrating again from an integration approach, and then the character. I mean, we've got some absolutely crazy characters, and also it's really interesting. Surveyors totally geek out when it comes to designing their own character. We've got a right array of
nobody wants to be the same.
Nobody wants to be the same. Yeah, I think that somebody did ask for a deer, didn't they, in the States? I think the deer.
Oh, the moose. No, there's
the moose is a moose.
Yeah.
Oh God, don't mix that up. A moose and a deer. Sorry.
Oh, brilliant. Next, number 2. Okay, so use our audience to your advantage, basically. So fill in your character spotlight form and make use of the exposure that we will bring to you. So if you fill in the character spotlight form, this will go onto our website blog and on our social media channels. Bearing in mind, our social media channels have around 11,000 followers in total.
Is that including West Coast as well?
Oh no, plus West
Coast. Yeah.
And then our LinkedIn account will often grow further reach because more people from the companies share the posts, which is great. Some companies never fill in their character spotlight form, so they don't have this opportunity, which is a very big missed opportunity. And you don't have to follow our format. You can do it in your own format. Just send me some information and we will get it out there for you. Because if you've sponsored you may as well access our audience too.
So the great thing about the character spotlights, again, Paola, if you want to go on to Regal's page and get Bernard the bear when you get a chance. Bernard is Regal's bear. Now, generally, and Johannes will probably slap me for this, but Regal has got very boring marketing. It's very feature orientated. Buy our scanner. This scanner does this, and this goes an extra distance, blah, blah, blah. What was quite interesting when we got them to write their character spotlight was that it ended up being really fun. So when you read it, you will giggle because it's like, wow, did they outsource it? We didn't write it. They wrote it in-house. So, but it really showed the value. This is Bert, by the way.
He wants to be on the webinar.
He wants to be on the webinar. So it really showed the values of that company, and actually what you probably don't actually see from their strong, very, very professional, I would say, brand image. So that was a really interesting way to showcase it. But going back to the platforms that we're using, we're growing very, very fast in some areas, and with West Coast and UK, we're trying to spread as much as we can locally as well as globally. The character spotlights, again, they're going to get pushed out, so we put them out onto the socials, and again, visibility of your own brand, cross-referencing your brand, and also, you know, tying that in with your employees, which takes on to the next slide.
It's good for website stats as well,
it's
isn't
very
it?
good for website stats. Yeah.
Number 3, you don't need to be a sponsor to access more exposure. So the more active brand ambassadors are, the more they'll get featured on our page, which is really great for personal branding and growing their connections. And consequently, that's great for the company they work for, as connections bring in potential buyers and clients. Being a brand ambassador as well is great for the future of the industry. Brand ambassadors, if you don't know, are our troops on the ground. They volunteer, they go out into schools, into their local communities, and they use our resources that we provide for free to educate classes, scouts groups, brownies, and so on.
Yeah, and I think as well, there's 2 things that you tapped on there. Personal branding, I'm a big one for pushing and developing the brand of your individuals. Now, I've had it before where people say, yeah, but I don't want and especially in the UK, not so much in the States as much, because it's a wider geographical area, but the UK, like, oh, I don't want to push out my staff because I'm scared somebody's going to poach my staff members. But this is, unfortunately, is a wrong attitude. And it's almost flipping that. So if you look again at Storm Geomatics, they very much promote their staff throughout the whole social media platform. So it strengthens the brand, but 2, they've got really strong sound leadership, which is a really good. People want to work for great companies. You know, they want to work for great people. And if you've got a shitty brand or you've got a bad leadership, unfortunately, your staff are not going to stay with you anyways. So going back to the brand ambassadors, it's got 2 elements to it. One, it's your people themselves and what they're doing. It's 2, it's integrating what Get Kids is all about. So we're trying to join forces around the world. I know it's a big task, but the integration of that and showcasing what survey is all about and what we're doing. So I think looking at them to those brands, you know, and also attracting new talent towards what you're doing. And again, Storm Geomatics is a classic only because they're quite a unique company, aren't they? So with you know, surveying water completely. So I would say.
Number 4. So recently, there's a lot more companies getting out and about to careers fairs, which is amazing. Please shout about it and encourage others to follow suit. Having a presence in your local area not only increases your brand awareness, but it's showing your audience that you're making an effort to contribute to your community, which is a great and positive asset. Yeah,
I think the community involvement is key, and you know,
that's Melvin.
Yeah, there you go, that's Melvin. Got you on there. I think just going back, and as well, like, you know, the outreach and stuff that Trent's doing with West Coast, is going out to all these different places, but local community is really important. And if you are a survey company and you have that local commitment, you know, that's a really good way of educating and sharing what you're doing. One, from exposure, but two, from your brand. And if you look what Trent does, for example, Diamondback Land Surveyors are massive into branding, and it's very strong. So you can see then how that's actually probably impacted his own business from his business side, not necessarily from Get Kids West Coast side, but how that has that implication. So, you know, and also then getting involved, because at the end of the day, I mean, we're still talking about how we're measuring this anyways for the future, but kids, you always remember when you're young. I always had a magazine. It was, I can't remember the exact name of the magazine, but there was Freddie. It was all about Freddie the horse. Of course, it's going to be horsey related. And we collected cards of Freddie, and we had a little membership thing of Freddie. That magazine was awesome. It was so good. And I remember it. It was fun. It was fun. So, and of course, that's one of our values as well, isn't it? So I think as well, going back to, you know, these guys are going out to schools, you know, they're sharing
hands-on as well. It's not just, you're not going and you're just doing a talk. Like, quite often our ambassadors will take in their equipment, they'll give examples of how it works. And we're also developing for our brand ambassadors some interactive lessons that they can give, where students are then they'll measure out certain distances and do more interactive things to get them doing. Because when they do, they remember. And that's important to us, that they remember those skills and they carry that forwards.
I think it's, you know, like, we've done quite a bit of work with National Geographic for Kids, and I'd like to do lots more with those guys. They've been very supportive, especially in lockdown, and actually having the you know, we did like that competition when they had to design their own, loads of people.
It was their own eco machine, eco eating machine,
so
wasn't it?
So if you've seen the World Without Surveyors poster, go and have a look at the World Without Surveyors poster.
It's rainbow coloured. It's the machine,
and and the kids got really into it. And again, of course, brand exposure, like what's happening and all these people that are on this poster. So again, you know, they were so excited to be on this poster. Plus then we've got the National Geographic Kids exposure, which was about 30,000 circulation. That was UK and Australia based. We did it in Australia as well, I think, at the same time. Can't remember. Not in the US, because actually to advertise in the US it's about 10 grand a page. We've got to raise some resources yet to do National Geographic for Kids in the US. But again, just shows you an educational stuff that they can actually do. So again, this is why the homework projects, if you guys want to do anything, don't want to just be on a poster, but you want to actually be practical and educational, going back to the putting it into the homework projects, and then cross it in that with your own, what you're doing in your business. Again, that's a real powerful thing to do. So I think Melvin just said, Jacob really enjoyed his visit to his school. So yeah, that's great. And again, brand exposure of the company in the local community.
Number 5. So what are you doing differently to others? What are your core values that make you special? So people really resonate with companies that have similar beliefs and values to them. So, for example, here, Tritech are showing that they are in support of women in construction, which is a massive topic within the geospatial industry at the moment. So that post created some buzz around it. Other topics could be environmental, education, and career growth. And there's some more examples on there.
Yeah, and then touching what I just said at the beginning, you know, your values. What are your values in your business? What do you stand for? You know, and like, for example, one of our values, of course, I've just mentioned it, is fun. You know, we get kids, it's fun, it's educational. You know, so that, you know, there's, what do you actually stand for as a brand? And then having that, you know, you're from your if it's your homework project or being part of the poster, that again, from a business marketing perspective on your company, that can cross-reference quite well.
And it shows that you're in support of educating the next generation then as well. So our mission is also shared with you.
Yeah, and I don't think Richard's on this call actually, from UTSS, but he said to me previously, says, I really want to get a character, and then he came through and was on one of the posters. I think he's done a homework project as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, it was him and his dog, wasn't it?
Him and his dog, yeah. And he said, no, I really want to be on this because the exposure you're actually giving locally here in the UK, is just great. And actually, I want people to know about my brand. So he said, that's another touch point. We call them in marketing touch points. So another area that's someone you've been exposed to. So bearing in mind, you've got social media, you've got email campaigns, you've got your website, you've got word of mouth, you've got talking to people, which is prospecting, integration with your customer. And then of course, you've got the other areas. And so it's another thing. And he was like, oh no, you've got like 8,000 people on your LinkedIn page. So there's a lot of people that's going out to his from the brand perspective. So yeah, so that's one of the things, and he would have been a good one to mention how he's getting on with his brand and his character.
Okay, number 6. So one of my absolute favorite marketing campaigns is that from the Green Hatch group. They created their character Tribus, that's how you pronounce it. And that wasn't enough. They wanted 4 more, which demonstrate each area of their business. So they have, well, you can see here, they have a drone surveyor and they have an engineering surveyor. And what they do is they have their own Instagram for these different characters. And they use this to educate their audience on what they do and educate children as well, specifically, because one of their goals is to get more children into the industry, which is exactly why they got involved with us in the first place.
Yeah, and I think, Pal, it'd be good to share their Instagram account if you can locate it.
It's Tribus and Friends.
Tribus and Friends. Yeah, so they went a bit crazy, which is really fun. So some people go, and we've actually touched on quite a lot of British companies on this particular one. But again, going back to the values of the company and what they wanted to share. But the other thing as well is there's a few things here I just want to mention. One is again, it's a talking point for their audience. So like if they're, sharing what their values are and actually what they're doing in the community, that's also good from their own client perspective. But also, I bet you guys are thinking, well, okay, this is all well and meaningful, and I like it, but how do we measure the effectiveness of it? So going back from a marketing standpoint, there's a couple of things here that you can do. One is how many people are going onto that particular Instagram page, but how many people are clicking through. So one of the things that I encourage is to have like some kind of landing page that if you're using Instagram or you're using LinkedIn or the socials, is to have some kind of landing page that people can go to. And that can share either educational stuff and attract employees or education of children, but also it's a community page, shares the values of what you're doing within community. And especially if you're a local surveyor and you're looking to expand your market reach and what you actually do, it's a really easy way to actually communicate to your target audience. Because everybody, if you got your granny to go on your website right now, could she tell you what you do? Most likely
Probably not.
So this is why, and this is when we step back and we look at the buyers and who you're targeting, this is why it's a really key thing. Now, marketing is not a magic wand. You can't just go done, you're doing it. It's continuous development all the time. But one of the things that with like the landing pages and having something like what these guys have actually done is having that link, so then you can go back and say, oh, this is good. Now if you're a larger company and you have some more resources or funds that you can do, again, you could go crazy with this. Now we're seeing this already. I mean, these guys spent a lot of money, didn't they? I know that Trent as well, he's got quite a few people who's bought several different characters for theirs and how they develop it. So again, it's the integration of the entire brand and how it fits in. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that with the tracking of the visitors.
Number 7. So this is more of a general marketing tactic that anyone can start implementing.
Yeah.
It's using videos and other media. So by this, I mean, you don't just post a picture or you don't just post a bit of text. It's using more videos. Like I've got on here, Elaine has started using video. Well, you have for like the last year, haven't you? And your growth in reach, it's just nuts. It's been nuts because it's so the algorithm, I should say, favors it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Also the likes on LinkedIn, we see polls do very, very well, and so do PDFs, because they are specific to that platform. Similarly on Instagram, the use of Reels, and also, which are a bit like TikTok videos, for those who don't know, and carousels, so that multiple images. It's getting people to stay on Instagram longer, scrolling through pictures, so therefore Instagram likes it and they promote it. So it's just using little tactics like that. Yeah,
and remember, your social media is your top of funnel. We call it top of funnel. So like, it's like the brand awareness and what you're doing. So having things like video, especially video on LinkedIn, and integrating what you're doing through that, and even like using your character, if you have a character throughout, to again, educating that specific person. But also the video is just, it really shows you, or it shows the algorithms in LinkedIn that, oh, this is really interesting. So like what Erin's saying, this is more of the general stuff that you can use your own marketing with, but also with the articles are going through the roof at the moment for impressions. And that's because the person comes on, they have to click through it, which then tells the algorithm that this person is interested. So the sweet spot for pages on your PDF or article on your LinkedIn is going to be 15 pages. A few of the pros have tested out more on less, and that's the sweet spot that they're pulling back in. And again, like what we were just saying, polls and stuff,
surprising,
like, very
surprising. 15 pages is a lot.
Yeah. So like, for example, if you're doing, if you're wanting to educate your local community in actually where local surveyors, this is what we do, using your character to actually attract and build up an education of what surveying is all about. So you're educating your end user, attracting kids, parents, teachers, again, the local community, and that integrates back into what you're doing as a business. So it's, again, going back to that soft sell side. And then, of course, with the LinkedIn is more the professional, so it's more the B2B and different target audience. But again, it's a great talking point. And then Instagram, of course, TikTok and stuff like that. But again, bearing in mind, that's your top of funnel stuff. So that's the next stage then, is how do you know it's going to get, it's working at the end of the day? Are you just throwing money at it for the sake of it, or is it actually doing something for you? So, and that's why I have a webinar next week on metrics, marketing metrics, which Paola can stick into, which she can stick into the chat, to actually, how do you measure your marketing? So, so I am having that next week. Thought I'd get that in there. Get that in there.
Number 8, and I think this is one of the most important tips. So I personally post 3 times a week, every single week, for Get Kids Into Survey, and I follow a bit of a theme so that I know that I'm posting different things each week. You can see a snippet there of our Instagram page. Basically, keep showing up time and time again, get your face known, get your brand heard. By constantly showing up, you'll gain a bigger reach, you'll access new leads, and you'll grow your popularity. This doesn't mean just spam everything with rubbish. You do have to be informative and think about the topics that people want to be informed about. And also, if you show up in different ways, so if you show up in the comments of other people's posts, you like other people's posts, you engage with your audience. If you engage with them, they will engage with you in return, and it'll build better quality connections.
Yeah, and I think this is where a lot of people get a bit lost, because they're posting and posting and posting and not seeing anything happening. And this is why you need to have at least some metrics in place to actually know what you're doing. Dave Bennett at TopCon UK,
conversation started.
He's had the right exposure, and he sent me a couple of messages. Oh my God, Elaine, look what's going on in the impressions, because he's had some conversation starters. But the big thing is he's been consistent.
He did a challenge, didn't he? That's what it stemmed from. Showing up every day for 30 days.
Yeah,
is
that's
that right?
right.
And
yeah.
he posted like different things and different tactics. He was doing like a test, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
See what worked and what didn't.
Yeah.
That's what you can do as well, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, what Erin's highlighted here, just giving you a little bit of a snippet of some of the things, we find that from a Get Kids and Survey perspective, the surveyors' children doing tasks and going out gets a heck of a lot of attention, doesn't it? Because people are like pushing it.
They relate to it.
They relate to it. So that's a really good booster. So if you could do something with your own character, but also with, you know, the surveyor's kids, and getting them involved. And it doesn't have to be timely or costly, you know, do that, you know, do something in-house in the office, you know, and then tagging, you know, us and West Coast. The whole point of that is then we can then regurgitate that and get that out there. So again, that's spreading the word of what you're doing, cross-linking. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
And I think that's the end of our tips.
Yes.
So Q&A time, really. So if you want to ask any questions to Elaine or me, please ask away. If you've been inspired, I should say, to get your own character, then please do reach out if you'd like one. If you'd like to have a discussion about it, then Paola's linked Calendly is on there. So, Paola is in the corner. I don't know if we introduced you.
We haven't introduced you, have we, Paola?
Paola's our sales manager.
Not sure, but
hi.
Hello, everybody. I'm here.
So there we go. Scan the QR code and you'll get a lovely Zoom call with Paola.
I think as well, you know, I think even if you just want to chat things over and just to understand what it's about, I mean, we have got a long way to go yet, a heck of a long way, but we are determined. Trent and his amazing team are also doing the same. So again, he's going at it from a local perspective and building that in the West Coast of the States. The plan is to have more franchisees. So again, it's locally and building that exposure of the brand. We like to have big goals. But you know, so that's key. And then the money that we get from that, of course, we're not a charity, but the money that we do, we put it back in. So that is helping produce resources, helping us develop things. We've got a right array of things that we want to do. It helps feed things like Trent going to conferences and outsource and stuff like that from the West Coast side. It helps us to fly to the States and really get more exposure and get more sponsorship from those guys as well. So that is a
shows are
big
expensive
thing
for us.
Like expensive for everybody. The industry seems to like to have expensive shows. So yeah, definitely. So do we have any questions from any of you guys? You can either stick them in the chat or you can put your hand up and I can bring you up. And I can unmute you if you want to have a bit of a chat.
We do have a Q&A box too, if you guys want to put any questions there.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Or maybe if they want to comment on anything.
I was just thinking, where have you gone? Trent, I was just wondering if you want to have a few words and just what you guys are doing and how you're doing stuff. Do you want to come up? I've clicked allow to talk if you want to have a chat.
Talking.
We're allowing you to talk.
Right? I love it. No, I don't know where my camera is.
Hold on, I think
fine. Oh, it doesn't matter.
With camera? I don't know. Maybe not. You can
Either
chat.
way, we're as they said, we're definitely here to help with anything you guys need. West Coast side of things. Would love to do reprint packages as well. We got a few posters that we would like to have some reprint stock of so that we can provide those as well for everybody as the resources. We've been doing a ton of outreach, so been going through a lot of resources. So we're always looking for that kind of stuff. We do have a booth at the Western Regional Conference coming up next week. So we'll see you in Las Vegas. Hopefully there's 5 states, hopefully between, 700 and 900 surveyors. So hopefully we can get some support out of the conference, West Coast conference as well. So, but like Elaine says, from a sales side of things, being able to keep these resources free for everybody, that's where the industry support comes in. And so we'll love that support to keep these resources free for everybody so that we can continue the initiative and continue to keep everybody getting in front of the kids. So.
Yeah, and I think as well, any of you guys have got ideas as well how we can develop the resources. That's also a big key thing. You know, and it's like I think this is where the brand ambassadors really come into their own, because these guys are going out to their own local areas and doing it for free, their own time, which is unbelievable, really.
And thanks to TopCon as well. This year we have been able to build a brand ambassador hub. So with that comes a community, so you can talk to other brand ambassadors, but also we've got the classroom feature, and with their sponsorship money, we've been able to bring out some more resources specifically for outreach that you brand ambassadors can use. So I've been reaching out to brand ambassadors asking, what can we bring you? What do you need? We will give it to you, but I need to hear your suggestions. We're working on, we've just released some careers leaflets. So I've been going through different states, updating them for each state or country. Coming out soon are some lesson-based, like practical activity ones that I mentioned earlier. So just gives you options when you do go into a class. If you don't just want to do a presentation, you can do an activity afterwards too.
I think actually, Trent, are you still on?
Yep.
I'm still. Actually, just question back to you, because you have gone crazy with the branding, and you put your dog characters on the was it NASCARs they call them?
Yeah.
So from a local perspective, just tell everybody a little bit about what that was about and why you did it.
Yeah, the whole NASCAR initiative was really, if you go back and look at any social media aspect behind it, it was literally about the Get Kids initiative. And so the whole social media side was bringing awareness to the Get Kids into Survey initiative. We use the characters of all of our Diamondback characters, our dogs characters, all over the NASCAR wrap. And then all of the social media that went with each of the drivers that we had sponsored all push that same initiative. So it was just a massive brand exposure to, tens of thousands of people by throwing it on a NASCAR and then getting, all of the team support behind it all. So it was a good move to help just, bring awareness to the initiative more so than the branding part of the company side of it. So
good talking point.
Yeah. It's always a great talking point. Absolutely. So
we have a question actually.
So Brenda, is there a cost involved with becoming a brand ambassador? No. So the idea is that you are a volunteer and that you are volunteering yourself to go out in your local community and talk about surveying. So we provide you with the materials with thanks to TopCon, and no cost to you.
I think the thing is with the brand ambassadors, it's a community that's growing. We've got a load of people in there. We've got a great little community hub where everybody can go to support. So even if it's just like sharing it out with your local school, or even going to your local school or the scouts or whatever, the whole point of it is it's doing something. Even if you're sharing stuff on our LinkedIn and our Instagram pages as an example, we don't ask for much. But the main thing, the more and more brand ambassadors that we have, the more and more people that we have following, and the more and more the word gets out there, it's brand recognition, it builds the brand. And of course, then our ultimate goal is to have more kids going, do you remember that? I want to get into surveying. That was really cool when I was younger, because that was all what it was all about. So I know we've digressed a little bit from the sales side. Oh, Sonawabili. I can never say it. He's got his hand up. Do you want to speak? Let's allow you to talk. Hello.
Hello.
Can
you hear me?
I can. Whereabouts? You're calling in from Africa, aren't you?
Yes, I'm from South Africa.
What is your question?
I think I've spoken to Erin a couple of days ago. Tomorrow we are having a the Geospatial AGM in Johannesburg.
Ah,
So they promised me a 10-minute presentation. I've sent them the PowerPoint presentation and they seem to be happy. They could squeeze me for 10 minutes just to introduce it because this side, we very few as ambassadors. So I'm hoping tomorrow that we're gonna start it and we're gonna keep it rolling.
Oh,
that's
cool.
great. That's great. See if you can recruit some more ambassadors.
Yes, and then we will have them under one roof tomorrow, the geospatial industry in the
Yeah.
IGM. So yeah, I think that's a good point to start.
Yeah,
Great.
great work.
Yeah,
Goes
great
really
work. Thank
well.
you for your continued support. We really appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. Well, that's us out of time, guys. Thank you very much. Oh, hold on, we've got one from Trent. You might want to clarify that there is, it's to us actually. Oh yeah, so character creation. Yes, actually, this is a good point from Trent.
Yeah.
If you want to become a sponsor, there is cost, of course, associated with becoming a sponsor and you're developing your character. But if you speak to Paola, she can run you through everything and make it really clear. So what it involves from your company perspective.
There's different options.
Yes.
Like it's not just, they're not just one cost. There are different options depending on what you can afford.
Yeah, so there's something in there for everybody at different levels and how much you want to invest to help us expand this brand and get more kids into survey. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, everybody. We really appreciate you. Keep flying that flag high. Survey rules, of course. It's in our blood. But we thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks.